Now we are going to learn how to diagram questions. Please open to pages 29 and 30 in your book and listen along as I explain some of what I describe on those pages. Diagramming questions is not complicated. You don't really need to know anything new about diagramming. You just simply need to be able to wrap your head around one new fact. And that is that questions are statements in reverse. This is stated at the top of page 29. You know this, but you need to think about it carefully as you turn questions back into statements. That's the main trick that you need to know how to do. And that is what can actually be a little bit tricky about diagramming questions. Because, in part, sometimes the statements sound odd. Sometimes the statements that the questions revert back into can sound a little bit unnatural. But you will get used to this. Okay, let's go back to the top of page 29. Questions, again, are statements in reverse. Before you can diagram a question, then, as I've just said, you need to convert it back into a statement. There are two kinds of questions that we might ask. The first kind of question asks for a yes or no answer. And the second kind of question asks for some particular answer. Again, the first question, or the first kind of question that we can ask, is one that asks for a yes or no answer. And the second kind of question is the kind that requests some particular answer. It wants some particular piece of content filled in. I review these two kinds of questions on page 29. In the first example, the question is, are you going to the movies with Pam tonight? The question requires simply a yes or no answer. Certainly we could always say more than just yes or no, but the question at base wants to know whether you are going with Pam to the movies tonight, yes or no. The statement form then is, you are going to the movies with Pam tonight. Now what's a little bit tricky about this is that when you say it that way, you are going to the movies with Pam tonight, it sounds something like a command or a little unusual, a little unnatural. Remember, when you are diagramming, you're looking for the logic of an expression. The logic of the statement simply is that you are going, in the continuous and the progressive, to the movies with Pam tonight. Now that we have the statement, we simply diagram that statement as we find it. And there it is on page 29. You, subject, are going, main verb and the predicate, and then what we have remaining are simply three adverbs, two adverbial prepositional phrases, and one one-word adverb. You are going where? To the movies. In what way? With Pam. When? Tonight. You know how to diagram all of that already. The second kind of question, continuing down the page, again, asks for some particular answer. In the example we see, where is the vacuum cleaner? If we were to answer yes or no, that would be a comical answer. Where is the vacuum cleaner? No. Doesn't make any sense. It's funny. You would think that your audience had misunderstood the question. So the question wants you to provide some particular answer, some kind of content. So we put that question into the statement form that would enable us to answer that question. We put that question into the statement form that would allow us to provide the particular content in the place in the sentence where we'd expect to find it. So, the statement form is, the vacuum cleaner is where? You can think of putting an X in on the word that needs to be filled in, and to try to give yourself a statement form or make a statement form that provides you a way to respond grammatically to the question. So the vacuum cleaner is over there. The vacuum cleaner is in the closet, as I say on the next page. The vacuum cleaner is outside, and so on. The where is our interrogative adverb. That sounds somewhat technical, but if you put those two pieces together, you know what that means. The vacuum cleaner is X, is where. So we diagram the statement as follows on page 29. Cleaner, that's our subject, is. That is our verb and our predicate. It is where? We don't know, but that's the word that needs to be filled in. Where is an adverb telling us where that vacuum cleaner is. Remember that before you diagram any sentence, you need to identify the parts of speech. Be very sure in the homework that you don't skip this step. It's not additional or optional. It is absolutely necessary to understanding how the sentence structures work, and therefore how to diagram the sentences correctly. Remember, parts of speech and parts of sentences work together. Where we would know, had we first diagrammed the parts of, identified the parts of speech, is an adverb. Where is the cleaner? Let's look to page 30 now. Flip the page, and you'll see a possible answer to that question provided on the top of page 30. If we were to provide an answer in the closet, we would put that answer exactly where the adverb before had been, exactly where we did not have particular content or the particular answer before. This is how questions work. The answer, the particular content for this kind of question, goes exactly where the word is that holds the place for that answer. In the closet, our adverbial prepositional phrase here, which again works as if it were one adverb, replaces the single adverb where. Keep in mind that sometimes, and I've already said this, questions put into statement forms can sound unnatural. They can sound unnatural in a number of different ways. I've provided two examples of how these sorts of statements can sound odd on page 30. But there are any number of ways, so be on the lookout. And remember, diagram, or rather identify, the parts of speech first. This is especially necessary when you are diagramming questions, because it helps you to see which particular piece of content needs to be filled in, or it helps you to see exactly how you would answer the question with a yes or no statement. If we look quickly at the example on the bottom of page 30, who's on first as a question? Of course, we have to uncontract that first. Who is on first? Otherwise, we would have no verb in our predicate. Who is on first? The question looks almost exactly like the statement required to answer it. who is on first. That might sound odd, but who is our pronoun. It is the pronoun that we need filled in with some particular noun. As you know, a pronoun is a word that replaces a noun. We're looking for the antecedent then. We're looking for that who to be filled in with the noun. We could say Paul is on first, Bob is on first, Pam is on first. So even though who is on first sounds odd as a statement, that is actually the form that the statement requires in order for you to be able to answer the question. This is the form or the kind of question and answer that is at the base of the joke about who's on first, what's on second, and so on. So who is on first? Who is our pronoun? We could put any noun in there to fill in that statement. If you notice, if you did not know that who was a pronoun, or you skipped that part, or you identified it as something else, this sentence would have no subject. This sentence, therefore, would not be a sentence, and you'd have no way to diagram it. Because we have a verb, is, and then we have a prepositional phrase, which is always an adverb or an adjective. It's never an object. It's never a pronoun or a noun that can serve as a subject. So you'd be really stuck. Anyway, go on to the exercises now, and remember to proceed in this order as you're diagramming questions. Number 1, decide what kind of question you have. The kind of question that asks for a yes or no answer, or the kind of question that asks you for some particular answer. 2, turn the question into the form of statement required to answer that question. 3, identify the parts of speech. 4, diagram the sentence, exactly the way you have in all of the homework up to now. And be sure to remember to identify the parts of the sentence as well. Okay, good luck. Contact me if you have questions.